Matt, welcome to the Men Made for More podcast. Stoked to have you on here, man. I'm glad former guest Ro Flores got us connected, and super stoked to hear more about your story and have you share your knowledge. So thanks for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here. Big Ro, he's a great guy. He was part of my first brick and mortar, my first gym ever in Miami, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, it was fun to have him on a couple weeks back, and want to pass it back to you though for kind of giving any listeners here a brief overview of as much or as little as you want to share about your story, kind of both on the personal side of things and the professional side of things with where you're at.
Yeah, I have an exercise science background. Moved to Miami from Washington D.C. in 2004. I had a pretty big clientele when I was there. While I was going to school at Marymount University, I sold my clientele to, which is, I think, funny. It kind of sounds funny when I tell that story, but I was like, man, I got a big clientele and I got no job in Miami yet. I have no clients. So I actually sold my clients to a friend of mine, another trainer in the gym I was at, for $10,000. And he paid me $1,000 a month for 10 months while I was in Miami to build my clientele, start over again. So I've been doing this for almost 22 years and helping people change their mindset, their body composition, and get healthy. And right now I have a 3,000 square foot brick and mortar that I do small group personal training out of. We have a virus going on out there. If you're not living under a rock, who doesn't know about the virus? Yeah, so things have been crazy in the gym now, but I'm kind of, like I always say, evolve or dissolve, So I've went on the online space. I'm doing a lot more privates in my garage. I'm kind of all over the place. Got to get creative right now.
Yeah, so cool to hear, and it's been such a tough time for. I know gyms are hit hard. We were hit early on with it, and it's there's definitely the two sides of people though. It's some people take that and they crumble with it. They don't see it as an opportunity, and other people it's like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to figure this out, but if it's important, you continue to push forward. You try new things. We threw so many things at the wall to see what would stick when it started out, and it's a good personal growth journey, if anything, to really learn a lot about yourself. And this ties in perfectly with our topic here today, because you and I both agree, your number one pillar is mindset. And the first foundation we talk about with our clients is mindset. And
really?
So many different diets out there, so many different workout programs, philosophies that people think if they find that next hack, that next magic bullet, that next secret, then they'll suddenly be able to get results. When if your mindset isn't dialed in first, then no perfect diet, no perfect workout program is gonna help you get there. And why? So it's your first pillar. Why is mindset so important to achieving any goal? And this could be health related, this can be life related. And what's the biggest mindset mistake you tend to see people make?
Yeah, I think the first one's probably not knowing exactly what you want and being super specific on the vision that you want to create for yourself, and then making sure the goals align with the action. And I think a lot of times they don't. A lot of times people have these expectations that are just too much. And this is one of the things that I always talk about, like January 3rd, when somebody comes into my gym and they say, I'm ready. I want to go 5 days a week, 6 days a week. What do you got? Unlimited. What do you got? Unlimited. And I was like, hold on, Lisa or Jim, hold on. Let me put my Sherlock Holmes hat on and get a little more information so I can, hope to solve your problem here. And when's the last time you worked out? It's been since high school. And high school. Gotcha. Or it could have been last January 3rd, right? That's kind of what happens. But bottom line is that they have these unrealistic expectations. They're a lawyer. They're stressed out. They have three kids. They're going through a divorce. They're burning the candle at both ends. And here they want to go for six days a week. So that's the fit professional's job, to kind of say, hey, let's start with 2 days. Let's start with 2 days, because that pattern, that mindset, that all or nothing mindset, it plagues our industry. It plagues our society, because we want something yesterday. We want that new body. We want that new purse or the new car or whatever you want. You want it yesterday. Nobody really wants to work for it. And in the weight loss world, that's kind of how it goes, is these people have been fooled by our industry, the shiny objects of our industry, and the marketing of Instagram and the models, and they think they can drink a magic powder or a potion or eat a particular food or eat a particular way and work out a certain amount of times and they're going to get the body they want. Where I think it comes down to having the right advice and finding the right professional to help kind of narrow down that focus and say, hey, less is more, right? And I'd rather have you in here 2 days a week for a year, which is I think 100 and over 100 sessions, if I can do my math on that one, versus you in here 5 days a week or 3 weeks. So what's better? I think we know consistency is everything. And as a business owner, I always try to say, listen, I want you here for 5 years. I don't want you here for 3 weeks. So my goal is to get in their head and kind of see what they actually want and then come up with a plan of action that's realistic for them. So mindset's everything, man. It's just because if you don't have your mind right, you're not going to show up through the doors. If you don't have your mind right, you're not going to put the right food in your body. If you don't have your mind right, you're not going to sleep right. If you don't have your mind right, you're going to make bad decisions. So it's one of those things that's lacking. It's the missing link in reaching anything from health, wealth, fitness, everything.
Why do you find so much resistance? I connect with everything you say. Why do we find so much resistance to telling people that they can actually do less and achieve more if they can do the consistency of it? Is it because people? Is it a discipline thing?
CrossFit.
Is it
CrossFit?
CrossFit.
I blame everything on vegans and CrossFit. That's what I do. That's where I get. I'm just joking.
Easy place to point the finger, right?
Yeah, no, the CrossFit's done a lot of good too. I can talk good about CrossFit too, but I do think that it probably came in with that. The whole where people were like, I want to work out every day, unlimited sessions. The boot camp model that came in, cheap, low price, low barrier of entry into the gym. 50 people working out at the same time, one coach, right? It's a great business model. But the majority of people are, it's not if you get injured, it's when you get injured. And I'm not shitting on CrossFit. It could be Barry's Boot Camp, could be Soul Cycle, could be Orange Theory. It doesn't really matter. But the volume, the intensity. So I always say consistency over intensity, or consistency over volume, right? So less is more. And I really truly believe that. And I'm a gym owner, and I always have to go back to that, because I have had people, I've gotten flack from. I remember somebody kind of took a shot at me one time. It was a gym owner, and he was saying in a consultation, he's always trying to get the biggest package for the person. Doesn't matter if they haven't worked out since high school. Doesn't matter if they're going through a divorce and have three new kids and they don't sleep and they're burning the candle at both ends, and all that stuff that we would be like, all right, hey, let's start with stretching and mobility and walking. How about that? That's where I'm just conservative, because like I said, it's not going to do, like, my goal, my job is to put them in a place of success. Like, how does that help them or my business? They're not coming back. Like, I wish I could get that through trainers' heads. Like, if you injured my client, that's what I tell my coaches. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't pay you. They pay you. So if they leave here and they can't walk for 5 days, they're not coming back. They're just not. They're going to do the same thing they do every January 17th or January 21st, and they're going to say, I knew it wasn't for me. I tried this last year. It's just not for me. No, it can be for you if you were treated properly and you had a customized program for your needs and your goals and your exercise level, your health history. It can be for you, but everybody wants to do too much too fast. And so that's where I differ with a gym owner who's just trying to get the money once. I want to help somebody and get the investment for years, because it does them no good, and it does my business no good if they don't show up and pay me monthly. Every single month I want them to pay me, because I deserve it. I'm saving their life. And that's what I want trainers to fucking understand, is that, like, we're on the front line of defense. We prevent disease. We have the capability to be more important than a doctor.
So do you see that being more of with the problem of, say, the workout example of people wanting to feel like they're written into the ground that they can't walk out of it. You think it's more of a problem on the trainer side of things or the client side of things in terms of where they're seeking out help?
Well, let's re-educate them. If it is the client side, and look, and I've had that happen before. I've had people come into me and they're like, and they're like, I'm ready, and I'm like, hold on, that's we need rest. This is strength training. So we're gonna give you about a minute and a half to 3 minutes in between each set. And they're like, and I go, where'd you come from? Oh, CrossFit. Gotcha. And they don't know how to rest, and they don't know how to repair. They don't know how to recover, they're not for me. They're just not. And I'll be like, oh, I'm okay with that because this is not my model. And I don't believe in that model and so if there's a place right down the street, there's CrossFit on every corner, or maybe I'm just not the right coach for them. But I think the coaches do have to, hear them out. What do they want? Sell them the right program, but they might not be the right person for them. But also you have to re-educate them on that. How's that working for you, Mary? How's that working for you? How long you been doing that? Oh, okay. And you don't want to sound like an asshole, but at the same time, it's like, hey, let's try something different because you keep getting injured and you're not losing body fat. What's the goal again? I'm sorry, what's the goal? Okay. Well, you came in here for a reason, so let's try something different. So I do think, look, it is our society too. It's absolutely, I think people seek sweat, they seek fatigue, they seek soreness, nauseousness at times. And if they don't have those things, and that's where the education comes in. Like, it's not indicative of a positive workout. It's just not. Are you going to be sore sometimes? Sure. But I'm not trying to do it. I'm not trying to make people throw up. Can it happen? Sure it can. But that's why I always say, I tell my coaches, I'm like, listen, I want them to leave here saying, I had a good time, but I probably could have done a little bit more. Because guess what? I can always go up. But if I go too far, I can't take it back, right? So I'd rather them say, man, I'm a little conservative. I'd rather that because I'm like, cool, I noted, gotcha, appreciate the feedback. So now I can make adjustments to their programming, push them harder next time. And that's just communication between the client and the coach. But I think these days, most coaches are very uneducated. They are. Simple as that. We talked about it before we started the recording. It's a saturated industry. Everybody's a fucking personal trainer, and everybody's an expert. And then you go, hey man, just curious, what's the last book you read? Huh? Last book. Mentor. How about a mentor? What's the last book? What's mentor, certification, seminar, workshop, mentorship? Oh, no, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilder, and I read Muscle and Fiction magazine, and what do you mean? They have no continuing education. They just got their 3-day cert and they're training people in the park. And that comes back to the consumer again. That's the responsibility of the consumer. Instead of looking for a low price trainer in the park, they do their due diligence and they say, hold on a minute, I got one body. It's one vehicle I get. I better ask some background. Hey, are you incorporated? Are you certified? Do you have any references? Do you have a resume? Do you have a website? Do you have any testimonials? Before and after pictures? Like, ask these questions. These are basic questions that you would ask any other professional in the world. But they don't do it. Like, when's the last time you've been asked?
Unfortunately, not often enough. Even with when we're in a field where we need our doctorate in physical therapy to treat people, and people don't.
Yeah.
And people don't really seek out. They don't really.
They don't ask. But they would ask, a lawyer, what school did you go to? Probably, so I think I think that's why I'm so passionate about, like, the trainer is like kind of upping the standards of the trainer and the industry, so we can all kind of grow together. We can get more respect out. We need more respect because I do believe that we have this incredible impact on people's lives daily, and we shouldn't take it lightly.
Yeah, very well said. And I think for the coaches, trainers listening, it's elevating that. It's not being okay with just making money. It's not being okay with just, people are trusting us with their lives and their livelihood, and to be able to, like, give the best to them is I think should be the minimum standard, not the exception to the rule. And for the clients listening, you do have to go, like, ask around, seek out different people. Don't just look at one person who might look good or might, maybe physically be able to obtain those results, but can they actually coach you coach you through that. And do you, and this is a thing for me, the difference between a coach and a trainer, do you run into that at all? Because I see trainers as being anyone that trainers can put together a workout, but to truly coach people with some of the changes involving mindset, involving some of those different things, it sounds like that seems to be more, in line with what you guys do at your gym. And do you see that being a problem in the fitness industry?
Absolutely. And I'm starting to think back, like how, like what, and I'm going to sound old when I say this, but like when I was in school, Perform Better magazine it was just getting out there. So this had to be like 99, 1999. I started in 98. 99, I remember looking in the Perform Better magazine, and I was like doing what my mentor, my first mentor taught me, Kirk Trader, and it was bodybuilding. It was Gold's Gym, it was bodybuilding approach. I was in school. You don't learn shit in school, really. I mean, I didn't learn any program design in school. Didn't really know, but so. And then I got into a little Olympic lifting, but it's primarily machine based, mixed with bodybuilding, body part splits. And then Paul Chek, I ran, and he lives in San Diego, or he did. But Paul Chek probably changed my world on that, and I dove into Paul's world as a Chek practitioner and nutrition lifestyle coach. I went in deep into all that stuff back in the day. And that, his influence on me from an education standpoint and reading, I'm not a reader. I'm not a great reader. Like, school was hard for me. I worked really hard in school. I was never a big reader, but fitness and exercise and health and Paul together, I fucking was in. Like, I went in and read all these books from adrenal fatigue to, gluten intolerance to, warm-ups and active recoveries and, just a very holistic approach to health versus just making somebody tired. And I always say success leaves clues, which is a great quote, because when I started learning like that, I'm like, I sought after experts in different fields, like John Berardi over here, Deep Pasquale over here in nutrition. I had, Eric Cressy and Mike Robertson over here for recovery and stretching and mobility. And then, I had this tree. I had these experts all over, and I traveled to Canada and studied with Paul Chek and I'm sorry, with Charles Pollock when I was out in Canada, and I went to Swiss Symposium, and I was in San Diego with Chek, and I was Perform Better. I was taking workshops and seminars. I was seeking out places to go and learn, Mel Siff, whatever. I was like so passionate and diving in, and I don't see that anymore. And I don't know why that is. If it's maybe because Perform Better is more of a, I don't know. I don't know why, especially with the internet. Maybe because there's too much now. Because the internet, that was before the internet. Because I'll say Paul Chek, people don't know who he is now. Where back in the day, it was so isolated. Like, it was such a small group of experts that you kind of knew who they were. And now it's just saturated maybe. I don't know. But I find that most people are not educating themselves, and they're not seeking out experts to learn and grow and create this ecosystem of health, where it's not just about making somebody tired. Hey, you know what, Mary? You didn't sleep last night. I can tell you're not feeling very well. Let's do some mobility today. Or how about this? I think you're better off going home and going back to bed. You know what I mean? Like they want to be told what to do. You're in charge. You're the expert. Like, Mary doesn't need a fucking HIIT battle rope session or sprint work on a treadmill. She needs recovery, right? So when you have that toolbox full from these experts, you start to, the old saying, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Or when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So, like, I have this massive toolbox like you do, and I'm ready for whatever. But if I don't know, I say, hey, I don't know, and I refer out. But for the most part, we need bigger toolboxes, and we need to be more equipped.
Yeah. Do you think I don't know, or being able to say I don't know, being able to admit I don't know and I'll go find it, or being able to say, hey, go home? Do you think there's some fear behind that, of that they might go seek out a different trainer who will make them? Because there is that fear of, some people, if they don't get the battle rope hit session from you, and that's what they
Go
want, they'll go
somewhere
find it
else.
from someone.
I mean, you probably have the wrong client. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that, but because it's always that. And I've changed my tune on that a little bit, because I used to say, give them a little bit of what they want, a lot of what they need. I'm still that way, but also you have to listen to the client sometimes too. And like, this is what they want, you know, like I'm not for smashing people, but and I learned this recently because he told me, I was at another gym. I've been to a couple of different gyms. Here's what I want. And no one wants to do it for me. They want to do what they want to do, but I'm paying you $150 an hour and I want to do what I want to do. And I was like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, I can only go so far, you know what I mean? But so I think there's times where you got to give a little bit too, and put your ego aside and say, look, this person's paying me for a service, but it can't go, I'm not going to go that far, right? There's only so far I'll go with that. But yeah, I think people are afraid to lose the money, and it's COVID time right now too. It's hard to find new clients. So sometimes you gotta bend a little bit.
Yeah. I love the, a little bit of what they want, a lot of bit of what they need. But sometimes if they're very particular, you might have to start with a lot of bit of what they want. But that's where the education you talked about earlier
Right.
becomes so key, of maybe
Yep.
giving that up front and then showing them over time. Like, that's where the relationship comes in. And some of the things with finding a good coach is there's got to be that relationship there. And I think that's what you keep alluding to as well. And I think that's
Yep.
probably the biggest piece of it.
Yep. Yeah. So from the mindset question, we kind of went on a tangent. I'm sorry about that.
It's good. It's good. But yeah, I guess bringing it back to mindset stuff. I know you mentioned earlier, like, people getting distracted from, well, weight loss is the goal, but they want, say, battle ropes, or they want a certain style of workout. And I know you mentioned this in one of your videos online too, about like the one thing, and I'm all about that too, of what's the one thing you're actually focused on. And what do you see with people getting spread too thin with trying to do too much or trying to accomplish too much? And how do you bring them back to identifying and following through on that one thing?
Yeah, I think it comes back to coaching once again, right? And just kind of having conversations. Because look, part of what we do is is if you're doing it the right way, if you want to have a long-term customer, as you're becoming a friend, you want to create a friendship with this customer. At least I do. I don't want to be training somebody and I don't like them, and I think they're an asshole. They're probably not going to be good for me. So I think to have that friendship slash coach relationship where you can have conversations, where you can check them. You're gonna have to check them sometimes. You got to be real. Like, hey, can I not be your friend right now and be your coach for a second? Maybe you need to ask them. Do I have permission to be real with you right now? And then you say, hey, man, you told me you wanted to, this was your month, and you haven't been showing up. You canceled on me twice this month. Or like, hey, your alcohol intake has been way too much. You're drinking your calories right now. You know how drinking your calories, you know what that does for you. So I think it's just like really diving in on, definitively knowing what the client wants and needs, and then giving them that roadmap to get there. And then having the ability to have a real conversation with the client to redirect them when they stray off. So sometimes people just need to, what is it? A boat without a rudder. I forgot the quote. It's a really good quote, but it's basically like just knowing where you want to go. And from a mindset perspective, I always tell my clients, like, listen, just expect that wind will knock you off course. Life will get in the way sometimes, right? A storm will come. I'm not saying to focus on, law of attraction stuff, focusing on negative things happening, but just expect life will happen. And you're going to have to redirect the boat and the coordinates, reset the coordinates and reset the GPS to get back to the destination. It's right there. And then when we get there, we got to burn the boats. You know what I mean? I just love that quote, where it comes from, and because that's where most people really fuck up. And it's a crazy thing from a mindset perspective to know that people do get to their destination sometimes, and then they turn back. And it's a weird mentality to have. Like, hold on a minute, we made it. What are we doing here? Let's keep going. Like, we're not going back, but it happens all the time.
What causes that? That's interesting. Yeah, that because people get to their goals for a period of time. What keeps people from staying there?
It's funny, yeah. I posted that today. I posted something last night, like when were you the best? When were you in the best shape of your life? And I was seeing like 2012, 2015, 1997. Like, what the fuck? And I was like, hey, I'm curious. What were you doing then? Like, what were you doing to be? Somebody was like, oh, it's blah blah blah. And then kids, right? And then I got a real job, or I was in the military. Like I don't know. It's such a, my mother-in-law's in the living room right now. She's lost 30 some pounds in the last 8 weeks with me. She lost 40 with me like 5 years ago, gained it all back. So I don't know, other than just continuing to like talk to that subconscious, not dealing with these deep emotions, something from childhood. And sometimes I think it's scary too, because I've dealt with this with, especially in obesity and people that are really overweight, is they use that layer of fat almost as a protective mechanism. It's almost like a armor, like to hide, right? So there's deep insecurities, and this is like way over my head, even though we're psychologists too. We do that on the side during our sessions, but it's probably way over my pay grade. And then they start to shed this armor, and now people are recognizing them. They're noticing them. Like, Mary, this is incredible. Look at you, girl. What are you up for? Oh my God, Mary. And they're like, whoa. And it's scary. It's vulnerability. It's something that in their deep subconscious that it's look, it's that, or it can be like we talked about a little bit ago, is like they can't sustain the output and the discipline and how unrealistic their goal was. And I think that's a whole nother sidebar on that, is like, why do you, oh, I ran 6 marathons. That's what another one, somebody on Facebook said, 6 marathons and work 7 days a week. And I go, that's not sustainable, right? Like, how sustainable is that? So once again, the all or nothing approach that I think most Americans take to fitness, like, hey, why don't we not be so hard on ourselves and like think about, look, this is forever. This is not going to stop on Monday. And they fall off the wagon and they go back to their old ways, right? So I don't know, man. It's a really interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, super interesting. I think I think there's a lot of things that go into it. I think if we, with the mindset side of things, we keep preaching on, like, if you don't adopt, so say whether that's health, whether it's being 50 pounds lighter, whether it's having a certain amount of financial wealth, whether it's a career goal, starting a business, if you don't improve and grow and adopt a new mindset, a new set of habits and disciplines, that is where you would have to, if you were 50 pounds lighter, if you had X amount more money, then going to continue to come back to your habits and your things that are in place. And that's why 90-day challenges don't work. That's why, 6 month, even New Year's resolutions. That's why so many things fail, I think, because people don't fully, it takes a long time to let your mindset catch up to maybe some of the physical results that you've seen.
And another one I thought was interesting, like, change your personality to change your current reality. Like, you have to change who you are. Like, and you're talking about learned behaviors, grandmother to mother, mother to daughter, right? Or deeper, further back of eating habits, geographical location of where of the food quality, socioeconomic backgrounds. You're talking about changing that. That's who they are as a person. That's what they've eaten. That's the way they've lived. They're sedentary. They eat this, they eat that. They live their life a certain way. You're telling someone they have to not be themselves, right? And that's the only way you reverse someone's situation, because you can't be that person anymore. It's not working for you. Either accept it, which I don't think you should if you're unhappy where you're at, but you have to literally change. And that comes from me too, right? If I'm making bad decisions, it's the definition of insanity. Like, I have to like figure out to be a different person. I have to change that part of me completely. And it's scary and it's very difficult because you get good at doing shit bad, right? That's like the said principle. It's not only in exercise, right? It's not only or sitting down too much. You get good at sitting down. That's not good if you get really good at sitting down, right? Or good, or cigarettes, like or drinking alcohol. That whole theory with the said principle. Like you get good at drinking two bottles of two beers, you're going to need three to get the same effect you used to get before. The same thing happens in bad habits. You get really good at doing things bad, and then you're just this cycle. And to unwind that is very difficult. You got to change who you are, and you got to have some support and a coach, which is most of the time lacking too. No one asks for help.
Yeah, don't try and do it alone. And that's because it is scary to change identity when you've been tied to something for so long. And I think people need to hear though that you are not tied to your current identity, and that can be scary.
Yeah.
So it's like but I am this. I am, my friends and I, we always go out and get drinks. We always go out and spend this way. We shop, and whatever you want to say. It's like you get attached to those things and think that I have to do that to maintain friendships, to maintain relationships, to maintain these things. And
yes,
and that gets into a tough thing that goes again beyond our pay grade of, well, then you have to make the decision of either your friends will support you if this is something that, if you're not happy where you're at and you need to make a change, then
rechange your friends,
change your friends, or have to at least change the dynamic of those friendships and
change your environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's so funny because in our world too, and it's a hard conversation with somebody, like, especially with somebody that's obese. I've had a conversation. I'm like, listen, if you're an alcoholic, like, my advice to you would be not to hang out with other alcoholics. So your friend that you go out with for Taco Tuesdays, who's obese just like you, I'm not so sure he's good for you right now. Might need to take a break from that relationship. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like in a lot, I always say out of sight, out of mind, right? There's these tricks like, why is it in the house, Mary? Like, what's the ice cream doing there right now? Like, get it out of the house. You won't eat it. You're in charge. You buy the groceries. Like, stop bringing it in the fucking house, right? It's the same thing when it comes to environment. Like, you may have to change your entire environment, and that entails maybe looking at friendships and being really real with your friends and saying, here's my goal. Like you said, have a conversation. And if they're your friend, they're going to help you towards that goal. Maybe they'll even jump on board with you and do the same thing with you. But if they're not cool with that, then they're not your friend in the first place.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important because some people will be like, well, it's harsh to have to get rid of friends. And I think you said there's that it's not cutting them out of your life, but if you have the opportunity to be a positive influence on them too, it might be, hey, instead of going to Taco Tuesday, encourage, something active, encourage cooking dinner at home. Like, there's plenty of other ways to maintain a friendship and take someone along the ride with you too. I'm sure they need it as well.
Right. Support system is everything too, right? I always, I have a group with 700 people on it, and that we support and we inspire, and we do Zoom. We have a Zoom meeting tonight at 8 p.m. So this group is very empathetic and compassionate, and they're positive, and they uplift each other. And I've heard from numerous of them that have gone through Weight Watchers and gone through Jenny Craig's and gone through this diet and that diet, that they like this because they feel they're a part of something, right? CrossFit's done a really good job with that. They create a community. And that's what I do with my people too. And it helps them because you're seeing people go through same experiences they are. And they're seeing people like, wow, Mary, you did it. Awesome. I want to be where you're at. What are you doing? And like, okay, let's follow. Success leaves clues. But yeah, I think that's a great plus for some people that they're not taking advantage of, is having help and asking friends to start a walk every night. And it's walk every night after dinner, bring some friends in for support. Yeah, I mean, all these little hacks, to help people stay on track,
Yeah, it was great, and a lot of good recommendations within that. And I know you mentioned community, and we both agree that's such a big thing. Why does everyone need a coach as well? I think that's another big thing, and that's one of your pillars within your guys gym
Pillar
is
two,
pillar two. Why
pillar
is
two.
pillar two? Why is coaching so important along with all this?
I mean, I think bottom line is people don't know what to do. This is, we went to school for this. This is our passion. This is like you're taking this car right here, this vehicle, into the mechanic. Like you need to go to an experienced mechanic. I mean, why would you think you could do it on your own? That's a better question for people. Like you pay somebody to do your hair, you pay somebody to work on your car, you pay somebody to do your taxes. You're seeking out professionals to and pay them to help you solve a problem. Like, why wouldn't you do that with your own body, reaching a fat loss goal or getting healthy? Like, it's just another re-education opportunity, I think, for trainers is to, and understand that it's an investment too. Like, I am expensive. You damn right I'm expensive because I'm good. I solve problems. I save people's lives. I should be paid like a lawyer. You know what? I'm gonna up my rates today. I just think I need a pay increase. I'm gonna up my pay today.
It's
But
settled.
no, but I do think we're valuable, and I think that they're just going to continue to spin their wheels if they don't ask for help eventually, because there's just they can't do it alone. They don't have any knowledge of exercise selection and reps and sets and tempo and loading and recovery and sleep and stress management. Like everyone needs and they're lacking accountability. They're not only lacking coaching, they're lacking accountability, a blueprint, plus the community. I mean, so it's like there's so many factors that will keep somebody consistent. And how many people are in the gym right now trying to do it by themselves and they're trying to reinvent the wheel? Like, stop doing what you think will work and do what's proven to work. You don't know. You don't have that knowledge, so you have to seek it.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm a big fan in some ways of self experimentation and trying to figure it out. But if you're spinning your wheels and you're not getting the results you're after, I think
Yeah.
of all key areas of my life, like periods of health and fitness, seeking out a trainer for help, that or coach that I need to work with, helping with programming, helping with seeing my movement, have seeked out docs for stress
Yeah.
management, sleep things, have a
Absolutely.
business coach we work with regularly to help with this side of things. And the more you figure out is you can experiment, you can do that. But if you want to get there faster, if you want to get there with less headaches, or if you're finding that you try the self experimentation, you try doing it on your own, it's just not working. At some point you got to say, hey, I need help in this area and I need to find someone who can fill that gap.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, it'd be like, like if you're a business owner and you go ask advice from someone that just failed in business, right? I'm not in bad analogy during this time, but like you want to seek out somebody that's been successful and say, hey, can I have a conversation, or can I take you to lunch, or can I pay you for your time somehow? It's what I did with mentors, and you're seeking out people that have already proven to have what you want. Like, don't why like they've already failed. Guarantee it. If somebody's really successful, they've already made a ton of mistakes. They failed numerous times. Like they made it. Like, wow, they did it. So why would you? I mean, don't reinvent the wheel. Go over this guy. Like, skip all the mistakes. Skip all that, and just go to somebody that's already done it for you. And it's just going to get there faster. So, yeah, when it comes to health and fitness, people just need to understand that like this one vessel that they're carrying around is so important. They deserve more. And that's where we talked about this earlier, is like some people don't even take a step forward because they think that they don't have what it takes, or they think they can't do it because they failed so many times before, or they think, I can't eat 5 to 6 meals a day, or I can't do meal prep, or I can't work out 6 days a week. So they do nothing at all, right? And this comes back to the trainer, right? Because most trainers and social media and Instagram, whatever, they do make it hard for people. They're confused. And that's where we come in. It's like, hey, let's simplify this. Let's simplify this. Make it easy so you can do this safely and consistently for the rest of your life. Versus 7 days a week. You should work on 7 days a week. Let's go, Mary. Let's go. Did you do meal prep? Did you cook on Sunday? How many meals? Where's your Tupperware? Where's your gallon of water? Like, fuck. These are real people. Like they're not bodybuilders. Like, so why do you treat everybody like a fucking bodybuilder? So like it all kind of comes down into that somewhere too. It's like we have to just make it easier for people too, so they can reach out and they're not intimidated by the process. Most people are scared. They're scared to change. They're scared to do new things. They're scared of failure, you know, and that's why trainers need to be more empathetic, and they need to educate more and smile and not be so intimidating. Less is more.
Right. Yeah. I love that. And I think the problem a lot of people, off of what you're saying too, is that people think that they have to go all the way. To take the first step means that they have to go all the way. And it's like, you don't have to commit to 6 meals and meal prep and weighing everything. Like there's a
Yeah.
big range between, you can get as dialed in as you want, or you can be on the other side of
Yeah.
that and still get results. If
Absolutely.
your goal isn't to be, to compete in bodybuilding, it's like, you can still look pretty darn good. You can still feel really good and do that without nearly the time that you think is invested, if you have the right coach, the right mindset behind it.
And this is a great analogy. I got this from Jordan Belfort. I think it's excellent. It carries over into fitness. It's called the waterline test, or the waterline analogy. And it is, ironically, I had somebody who's like, Matt, the scale's not moving. I'm really depressed. I'm really frustrated. This is where a coach comes in. This is what I did. And I say, okay, hey, I want you to take a piece of paper out, and I want you to write down everything positive. Everything positive that's been going on in the last 6 weeks since we've been together. It has nothing to do with the scale. We call these non-scale wins or non-scale victories. Like, I don't know, Matt, I'm just so frustrated. I'm like, oh, hey, calm down, calm down. Get a piece of paper out. I want you to write down everything. Tell me some good things, non-scale victories. Well, energy's picked up, sleeping better, my libido has really gotten better. My acid reflux is totally gone. I used to have a distended belly. It's better. I'm not as bloated as I used to be. I'm riding my bike every day now. I'm getting 10,000 steps 3 days a week. That's a plus. I went and got blood work. My LDL's down. My triglycerides are down. And they rattle off 100 fucking things on a piece of paper. And these are things that you can't see above the water yet. Think about an iceberg coming through the water. It hasn't broken through yet. I know they want to see the iceberg. They want to see the scale move, right? But it hasn't come through. But they don't realize all the plus, how awesome, how big the iceberg actually is below the water line, right? And it hasn't come through yet. And that's what a lot of times we need to have a conversation with them so they can see, like, hold on a minute. You're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. Just keep going. We haven't broke through the water yet. Don't give up yet. Most people give up too soon and don't realize all the little things they can't see on the scale, and they can't even maybe see it in the mirror yet. Maybe the clothes are fitting better too. A lot of times that happens. The scale's not moving, but how your clothes, they're feeling better than ever. And I'm like, whoa, what are you upset about? Like, your body's changing. We're moving in the right direction here. You're losing visceral fat. We're gaining lean muscle mass. Like, so this comes back to mindset too. Kind of always comes back to mindset, and also coach recognizing that they need to explain to them people about physiology and how it's. I always say change happens internally before it takes place externally. So it's an awesome opportunity to educate your clients on the importance of consistency. Keep going. Keep going. It'll come. It'll happen.
Yeah, so much good stuff in that last couple minutes there you're talking about. And I think it's important for people to have, call it realistic expectations, call it, committing to the process. I think there's, go in with set a number on it, say, like, give it more than you think it's going to take. If you think it's going to take 3 months, be like, hey, I'm going to stick this out for 6 months, no matter what, and commit to the process of it over the outcome of it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, is, like you said, they're 3 months in, they're not seeing the results. They haven't hit their scale goal yet. So they're like, well, this isn't working, when really
They go back.
They're right there. Yeah.
They go back to their old ways. And what I just said to the listener out there, understand what I just said had nothing to do with 7 days a week. It had nothing to do with meal prep, eating 6-7 meals a day. It had nothing to do with excessive intensity. It had nothing to do with, just the typical trainer advice. Zero. That is eating real food, right? That is stop snacking. That's walking daily. Hey, give me 15 minutes a day walking. Give me 2 days a week of weight training. Increase your water intake. You can get incredible results very fast without smashing somebody, without making them throw up, and without making them sore for 5 days, and without, just really depressing somebody. And you can create a positive relationship with fitness with somebody if you just do it the right way.
Yeah. And people want to know, like, how many days a week should I work out? It's like, it depends, but probably not as much as you think. If your goal is
Right.
purely
Exactly.
weight loss and feeling good, it's like, it really doesn't take as much as you think it does.
Nope, it doesn't. And you can still have, a cookie on Sunday, right? You can still have your pancakes on Saturday morning. You can still have a bowl of pasta with your wife and a glass of wine on Friday, right? It comes back to what we said, the all or nothing approach. It all comes back to that. And there's something ingrained in the human genome somehow that it's just difficult. It's just they want the results so fast, but that's where the coach comes in, because it's our job to set them straight. Hey Sally, can I be your coach right now, not your friend? Do I have permission to be real with you? We got this. Relax. You're doing amazing right now. We just need more time. We just need more time. Let's go. Come on. We got goals to hit. Let's get it. And so it's just it's liberating. It's liberating to clients when they hear that, because they put pressure on themselves thinking they need to be doing a certain amount or acting a certain way. And when they don't, they feel like, here we go again. This is how it is. And I'm like, no, it's not how it is. You were doing it wrong before. You had unrealistic expectations every time you tried before. You had the wrong coach before. And now you got the right coach and the right message and the right expectations. And we're going to stick with this.
Yeah. And being able to, reframe that for them. I think that's where people don't know. They're like, hey, I want to reach this goal in 2 months. And we have to, as coaches, be able to say, let's, like, this is 12 months. Like, let's commit to 12 months of this. This is not a 2-month goal. Because if people think
Right.
that, then they think the extremes have to happen. They think the all or nothing. They end up burning out and falling short. But we need to paint that realistic picture. And even if, you're going to work with a coach, stretch out your goal a little long. Like, it's okay to not be, if you're not the strict type, if you want the cookie on the weekends and the pancakes and stuff, like, just know it's going to take you longer to get there. And you're going to have to trade off in some other areas, but picking what's important and being okay with slow progress over time.
Yeah. And I think, look, knowing your client, like, I don't work with bodybuilder prep. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my niche. So people know that. Like, if I take a 40-pound overweight lawyer and I can change their life. I mean, quickly. 10 pounds off a female is a big fucking deal. A big deal. I got my father-in-law in there right now. He's lost 20 pounds. He's like, yeah, my hip and lower back don't bother me anymore. He only lost 20 pounds. And he's like, my GERD's gone. It's totally gone. I haven't taken any Prevacet in 3 weeks, Matt. I'm like, I told you it would work. And he's not killing himself. Matter of fact, he doesn't work out at all. He doesn't work out at all. My mother-in-law barely works out. You don't have to fucking kill yourself in the gym. It's most of the time, it's like what happens outside the gym I'm trying to get people to do. Most people show up and I'm like, look, you're good inside, but you screw up when you leave. Let's take care of what happens when you leave this gym today. Because, like, we're wasting our time. You put way too much emphasis on exercise. And that's another conversation. But I always have to go there with some people as a gym owner. Like, listen, I want you here, but we got to take care of what's most important. And it's in the kitchen, and it's in the bedroom when you go to sleep, and it's when you leave those doors. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to kill yourself to get results. And like I said, 10, 15 pounds can do so much positive things to someone's body that they like I said, that we need to get that word out to people, and that message isn't clear.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I think everyone could benefit from hearing that, because that's where most people are at. And that's where, at least as a starting point, even if your long-term goal is, if you have more to lose, if it's 50 or 100 pounds, it's like, start with the first 15. Like, you'll be surprised at how much better you feel with something like that, even.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. It's also good, Matt. And I want to, there's a lot of good stuff to take away from there. I want to transition into the end here. I know I think we have about 4 separate podcasts we can go on side topics and tangents on. But
Anytime. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
no, that's great stuff. And as we transition to the end here, a couple of questions I ask all the guests here, and when I approach you about the podcast too, and trying to be a place where we can just be real and vulnerable with people. And I think it's a fitting time now with all the COVID stuff going on. As a gym owner, I know things are, we're figuring things out just as much as everyone else is. But I think the appearance from the outside of seeing successful business owners, seeing someone who's fit, seeing someone who's accomplished so much, it's easy to look at that and be like, oh, you've got it all together. You always got to figure it out. You're coaching other people. You're always giving so much that you must have all the answers, which you and I would both be the first to admit is definitely not the case and couldn't be further from the truth. But, if you don't mind being real with listeners of a challenge you're currently going through, a challenge you faced in the past that ended up being a major catalyst for your growth as a man.
Yeah. Trying to do too much probably was my biggest, and it's put me where I am right now. Like before we hit record on this, I was telling you about my second brick and mortar, but I'm reading a book right now called The Business of One. It's interesting. I haven't gotten all the way through it, but it's interesting about just being okay with less, being okay, because I'm not an Orange Theory. I don't have corporate money. I'm not going to have multiple franchises. And I did at one time think about franchising Primal Fit. But I remember being in 1,400 square feet and with 30 people in the room. And I was like, man, this is awesome. But I want to help more people. It's tight in here. And I want to do something bigger. I wanted to do a health center. I wanted to have movement, recovery, cryo, stretch therapy, nutrition. I wanted to have this ecosystem, this community-driven one-stop shop for health and fitness, and I need to go bigger. And that was the biggest mistake I ever made. So I went there, I tried it, and I failed. But I went 5,500 square feet. I got in debt on a build out to make it all happen. I had 11 people on my staff. My payroll was through the roof. I was scattered and in a fight or flight, trying to make it all work and trying to pay rent and try to pay coaches and try to do privates and try to do small group personal. I was doing so much, and you end up taking yourself off the floor, and that's where my strength is on the floor and coaching. And I'm doing admin work, and I'm doing things I'm not happy doing. That's not, and I always say, double down on your strengths. I'm not a big fan of that. Work on your weaknesses. I think people should double down on their strengths and hire someone to work on their weaknesses on something maybe they're really good at, something they enjoy. But I was doing jobs that I wasn't fit to do, and kind of lost control of what was going on in that ecosystem. There was too much going on. So ended up leaving because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't pay rent. And I went smaller, and I'm down to 2,500 square feet right now. And it is a sweet spot. It's smaller, it's intimate, it's warm, and I'm helping less people, but I have my sanity, right? Before COVID, I'm able to pay the rent, I'm able to make payroll, I'm still serving people at a higher level, I'm on the floor. It's just me and one coach, right? So I feel like, and not to tell people out there not to go for it and try for things, take risks. But that was a big risk that I took, and I don't regret it, but it put me in a position where I'll be in the hole for a while longer. It was a mistake I made that will have repercussions for a couple more years from a financial standpoint. And I guess so. What I should have done was listen to my wife. Okay, so a word of advice out there to all you guys: about 99% of the time, your wife is correct, and you should just go, "Yes, honey. You're right. And I do remember my wife, who's wonderful and has supported me, but I put my marriage through a lot of stress. And I put my relationship with my daughter and not being home and not being present for far too long. It's difficult when you're a business in a small business to be present. But I was in a fight or flight every day, and I was never present because I was always struggling to get my head above the water. And my wife said, I think you should stay small and just start a waiting list. And I remember her saying that, and I didn't listen. I wanted to go bigger. So that's definitely a lesson learned there, that a hard lesson learned, that to stay small and just be really good at what you do in a small space. And that's it. Listen to your wife.
Two good things there. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you sharing that, Matt. That's good advice for a lot of people that, a lot of people listening, striving for more. And that could be health, that can be career driven, that can be, so many things, but don't sacrifice what matters most, those relationships in your life, those things that, the business mistakes can be replaced. The financial stuff will catch up and get back to even, and the lessons learned from it will hopefully be great, but don't sacrifice those things that matter so much.
I mean, look, the whole moral of today's talk, it seemed to have been less is more, and that from a newcomer fitness, person walking into your gym to your own business, your own life, more is not necessarily better.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, less is more stood out to me. Consistency over intensity.
Yeah.
Evolve or dissolve with everything going on. I think a lot of good, simple things that it doesn't have to be this huge goal that you set, and like, just keep at it daily, whatever that is you're striving for.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah. Good nuggets. Good session today, man. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. You're not off the hook just yet. You got one more hypothetical scenario. So we say, you might've already answered this, but I'll make you say it again. So
okay.
Last thing I ask people is, say you're leaving your favorite coffee shop in town, your favorite restaurant, wherever you enjoy going, and you bump into your younger self of 10 years back. So you only have 60 seconds to talk with them. You got an important class and clients to work with all day. What advice are you giving to them, and what are you saying to younger Matt?
Yeah. Put your ego to the side, put your ego to the side, and be happy where you're at. And I've still got to be better at that. I still have to be okay, with what I have right now, which is wonderful. I have a roof over my head. I eat organic food. I shop at a bush. My meat is from a butcher up the street. We have lights on, like these incredible things that we sometimes take for granted. I'm doing good, and sometimes I'm always reaching for another project. So I would say focus on what's important, which is family and children, and being content. I hate to say that, like, be content, but because I do want people to take chances, and I do want people to strive for more. But ask your wife what you should do.
The words of wisdom across it all. I don't think content and striving have to be two separate things, though. I think you can stay content and strive for more. I think those they have some push and pull, but I don't think anything's all or nothing in that sense. I don't think you have to be content. Doesn't mean sitting on the couch and hoping good things happen. Sure. I think there's a good balance that can be found with both those.
Yeah, I agree.
Sweet, Matt. It's been a blast. I appreciate sharing knowledge. Where can people find you? Where can they reach out to you if anyone's looking to get a hold of you?
Mostly on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, but Matt Pack on Facebook. Primal Fit Miami is the name of my gym in Miami. I'm on Instagram at Primal Fit Miami. Website's primalfitmiami.com. So I'm out there. I'm trying to stay out there. It's a whole nother job, social media, but it's something I'm working on.
Yeah, YouTube channel coming together too, right? You got some videos up on there.
I got thousands of videos on YouTube from years ago, but and my online coaching's really taken off, which which is, the YouTube has a ton of videos on there for the online coaching. But I'm still out there changing lives and trying to stay in front of the public eye. I want to help people and continue to make things simpler. That's the goal.
That's awesome, Matt. Yeah, changing lives, and keep at it, man. I really appreciate you getting on here and
Thanks, man.
sharing that info with us.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yep.